That innocent box of cereal sitting on your breakfast table holds a secret history that's anything but wholesome. While you pour milk over your cornflakes, you're participating in a morning ritual that was originally designed not for nutrition or convenience, but to combat what some religious reformers considered humanity's greatest moral failing: sexual desire. This is the strange, true story of how your breakfast cereal began as an anti-masturbation crusade. In the mid-19th century America, many believed illness originated in the digestive system. This was the height of the Victorian era, when moral purity was paramount, and many health reformers saw physical wellness as directly connected to spiritual righteousness. Against this backdrop, a group of religiously motivated health advocates began experimenting with dietary solutions to what they saw as moral problems. The standard American breakfast of the time would shock modern nutritionists: a cholesterol-laden hot meal featuring eggs, bacon, sausage, beef or chicken, plus cooked grains, biscuits, toast, butter, and jam. This hearty morning feast was borrowed from British tradition, designed to fortify the gentry for a day of sporting activities. But health reformers saw this rich diet as problematic, not just for physical health, but for spiritual well-being. The story begins in 1863 with James Caleb Jackson, a religiously conservative vegetarian who ran a medical sanitarium in western New York. Jackson created the first manufactured breakfast cereal, which he named Granula, a play on the word granules. This pioneering breakfast food was made from graham flour dough, dried into hard shapes so tough they had to be soaked in milk overnight before consumption. Graham flour itself has an interesting backstory. It was named after Sylvester Graham, another food reformer who advocated dietary changes to suppress carnal urges. Jackson's granula was so hard that some humorously dubbed it wheat rocks. While it wasn't an immediate commercial success, Jackson's creation laid the groundwork for what would become a revolutionary approach to the American morning meal. The cold cereal concept soon reached the ears of Dr. John Harvey Kellogg, a Seventh-day Adventist who ran the acclaimed Battle Creek Sanitarium in Michigan. This health and wellness resort catered to the upper middle class and above, those who sought treatment for various ailments or simply wanted to improve their general health. What made Kellogg remarkable wasn't just his innovative approach to health, but his extreme views on sexuality. Kellogg maintained that sex was detrimental to physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. His personal practice aligned with these beliefs. He never consummated his marriage, slept in a separate bedroom from his wife, and adopted all his children rather than fathering them naturally. While Kellogg found sex objectionable, he reserved special condemnation for masturbation. Kellogg wrote, "If illicit commerce of the sexes is a heinous sin, self-pollution is a crime doubly abominable." He believed masturbation caused a host of physical and mental ailments, and advocated extreme measures to prevent it. For boys, Kellogg suggested threading silver wire through the foreskin to prevent erections. For girls, he sometimes applied carbolic acid to the clitoris to burn it and discourage touching. These shocking treatments reflect the radical extent of Kellogg's anti-sexual crusade. Kellogg's solution to controlling sexual urges centered around diet. He believed that meat and flavorful or seasoned foods increased sexual desire, while plainer foods, especially cereals and nuts, could curb it. This theory led him to develop various breakfast alternatives while working as superintendent at the Battle Creek Sanitarium. In the late 1870s, Kellogg created his own version of granula using a mixture of wheat flour, oatmeal, and cornmeal. When Jackson threatened to sue over the name, Kellogg simply renamed his product granola. However, his most famous invention was yet to come. The creation of cornflakes has become the stuff of culinary legend. As the story goes, while working at the San, as the sanitarium was called, some dough was accidentally left out overnight and became stale. Rather than discard it, the Kellogg team tried to bake it anyway. The result? A flaked grain that could be served as a ready-to-eat anti-masturbatory morning meal. Kellogg developed several flaked grain cereals, including the now famous cornflakes, all intended as healthy alternatives to the rich American breakfast and, importantly, as foods that would reduce sexual excitement. These cereal products formed part of his broader health program, designed to purify both body and spirit. John Kellogg partnered with his brother, Will, to manufacture and sell these cereals to the public. However, the brothers had fundamentally different priorities. While John remained focused on dietary purity and the moral benefits of bland food, Will had greater business acumen and recognized that the products needed to be more palatable to achieve commercial success. Will wanted to add sugar to the flakes to improve their taste, but John vehemently objected. This disagreement eventually led Will to establish his own business, which became the Kellogg's company we know today. The brothers continued their feud for decades afterward. While John Harvey Kellogg's extreme views on sexuality didn't endure in mainstream thought, his cereal innovations transformed American breakfast habits forever. Following the Kellogg brothers' lead, other entrepreneurs and food reformers, many connected to religious institutions, developed their own cold breakfast cereals. The industry's early innovators were largely concentrated in a few small cities in the U.S. Midwest. From these modest beginnings emerged the cereals that would become household names: Kellogg's Corn Flakes, Post Grape Nuts, Quaker Oats, and eventually more modern creations. Over time, food scientists improved on the original recipes, developing new flavor combinations, and most significantly, adding sugar, the very ingredient John Kellogg had resisted. Breakfast cereals acquired new shapes and sizes as technology advanced, including machines that could puff grains into novel textures. The discovery of vitamins in the early 20th century further transformed cereal, as manufacturers began fortifying their products to enhance their nutritional profile. This made cold cereal not just convenient, but positioned it as a healthy choice for the modern family. The development of cold breakfast cereal coincided with a broader trend of American culinary influence worldwide. As food historian and author Rachel Lawton observed, American cuisine now included milk, vegetables, and fruit, as well as bread, beef, fat, and sugar. Meals were based on hot or cold cereal for breakfast, soup and a sandwich for lunch, and meat and 2 vegetables for dinner. This American dietary pattern, with breakfast cereal as a cornerstone, began influencing international food habits in the second half of the 20th century. Today, the ready-to-eat cereal market is a multi-billion-dollar global industry, far removed from its origins as a moral crusade against sexual desire. Thanks for diving into this bizarre slice of breakfast history with us. If you enjoyed this unexpected tale, like and share this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to History Scroll for more strange truths from the past.